Welcome to the 374th episode of the So Video Games podcast, where we talk about any game at all. Any game we're playing. You know, if we're playing it, we are talking about it. Today we're recording on February 4th, 2024. My name is Carlos Rudella. I am not a game critics editor. I am just a person who makes videos online and talks on podcasts. But joining me today is the man with the plan and is an editor on a website, Brett Galloway.
It's me. Thank you, Carlos, for that wonderful introduction. I feel completely at home here on my own podcast. Thank you, sir. Welcome.
Yeah, thanks. That was terrible. I'm going to edit most of that out.
No, you won't. We're going to run it.
I'm sure I don't edit anything.
All right, folks, we are back. Carlos has kicked off the show. We're here. We've got a full script, got a full load of games, got a lot of stuff to talk about. Carlos, how you doing, sir?
I'm okay. I just was telling you off podcast, it's weird that we say the date each time. February 4th, 2024.
Yeah, what's weird about that?
I don't know. I just feel like, does anyone remember the date when they listen to these? Like, what is that?
Well, for me, I don't know about you, but I started doing the date because I listen to other podcasts. And so whenever, I'm not current, I don't have like a bunch of free time. So sometimes I'll go like a week or two or three without listening to any podcasts. And then when I go back to catch up on my favorite shows, I'm like, I don't remember when was which. And so when I hear the opening of the show, it'll be somebody saying, oh, it was January 16th. I'm like, oh, okay, this was from like 2 weeks ago. That kind of mentally tells me how far back I am and what has happened since then or whatever. So it kind of, for me anyway, just kind of gives me a marker as to how long ago, how old the content is. Not that old content is bad content, but just, is it the latest show? Is it breaking news? Is this old news? Like where's it at in the timeline?
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we'll keep it.
All right. Excellent. Let's see. We got a lot of stuff. I say let's just jump on into it, Carlos. You ready to talk about housekeeping?
Yeah, housekeeping it up.
All right, folks. As y'all know, Carlos and I share a virtual living space divided down the middle with a strip of duct tape. His side, my side. Things are a mess, and we're tidying up right here and right now. It is housekeeping. I've got a bunch, actually. Unusual amount today. But, Carlos, I'm going to let you start. What do you got on your side of the room today?
Well, I have one box, and it's real easy. It's called State of Play.
State of Play. You told me about it, and you sent me some links, which I'm grateful for, but I have had a hell of a week, and I'm behind on a bunch of stuff. I haven't seen it. I plan to watch it with my family, and I haven't even watched the videos they sent yet. I don't really know anything about it other than, like the mention of the titles. You want to take us on a guided tour through what they showed?
Yeah, just a few things, some highlights. They didn't really show a ton, but I think a lot of what they show was weird, and you saw that across like a lot of the YouTube videos of saying like, hey, what was that State of Play fever dream that just happened? Because everything was kind of unusual, which I love. I mean, I'm a big fan of weird. So I thought it was great. And I'm not a fanboy, even though I play PlayStation more. I just want good games. But a bunch of the stuff looked really interesting and weird. So the first thing was kind of the biggest thing for me. I've been following this game since it was called Project Eve, but Stellar Blade was shown off.
What? How have we never talked about this? You've been following it for a while?
I've been following it for a long time. I didn't bring it to the show because there wasn't really anything to talk about. Mm-hmm. I think I mentioned it in, like directs or something because it's popped up before. I think it was originally called Project Eve. But yeah, it's like third-person action-y game, a little bit like Nier Automata.
Yeah, nice. Good job.
But at the same time, there's guns and blades, obviously, and stuff like that. And you play as a woman protagonist, and she's just like kicks ass. So they just kept showing random pieces of it, and so in this State of Play, they showed a lot of it. Funnily enough, a lot of what's going around the internet right now is focus on the fact that they're showing her curves, and I'm like, instead of Stellar Blade, they call it Stellar Yams.
What? Stellar Yams? What is
yams? I guess
yams?
that means ass. I don't know.
Is that a butt? I don't even know what yams is supposed to mean.
I guess it's supposed to mean a butt.
Is that what the kids are saying these days?
I don't know if the kids are saying it, but it was in a YouTube video.
Is that what the creepy old men are saying these days?
Maybe. But yeah, it shows off. I don't know, like she's running and you're watching her from behind. It's the same thing with Tomb Raider, so I don't think there's anything different there. But yeah, it's just like she looks awesome. She's kicking ass. It looks crazy. It looks weird, like a little bit. I don't want to say Death Stranding, but just weird story, weird alien, half alien human people, and I'm all in. I just can't wait. So you'll have to
Okay.
check out some of that because
I will definitely check that out. In fact, maybe after the show, I think today I finally got a little bit of breathing room, so I think I'm going to try to watch this show with the fam after
Oh,
we get
great.
done
Yeah.
recording here. Yeah.
It's definitely, a weird time. You'll see as I'm going to just hit the highlights. But
All right.
so it started off with that. And then it went into Silent Hill 2 Remake, showing that footage a little bit. It looks okay.
Is it Bloober Team who's doing that?
Oh, I didn't look. I didn't look.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
It's weird. Silent Hill is weird for me. I mean, you've obviously played. I'm assuming you've played it.
Oh, yeah, of course. I played every
And what, you
game.
love it, or what's your stance on it?
Yeah, I like one the best, weirdly enough, because it just had a moment in time for me on the PlayStation. It was like, what is this? It came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But I like 1 and 2 a lot, and I like The Room, and I've played all of them.
I've played many. I have not played all of them. I've played most of them. I actually do like Silent Hill, the first one, the most.
Yeah.
That is my favorite one as well. I feel like that one came together the best for me, even though it is like really rough these days,
Yeah.
But it's always been kind of weird to me that everybody loved Silent Hill 2 the most. And I don't really know why that is, because honestly, when you play the gameplay, it's kind of wretched. And I don't feel like the story came together for me. Of course, there's many different endings. Maybe I got the worst ending or something. But like, it's always really puzzled me how people really like 2 the best. And I don't know. It just never worked for me that well. But anyway, whatever.
Yeah, it looked okay. I mean, weirdly enough, I didn't think it looked like visually stunning. And lots of times, when you do a remake, you're really focusing on that. But
Yeah.
anyways, and the other thing they showed off really quickly is like that shadow drop idea of just dropping a game. So they showed off Silent Hill, the short message, and they said, download it now. It's a short little Silent Hill game. And I played most of it. And I'll tell you why I stopped playing it. Because it's basically, I think it's helpful, but it's also really tricky because it's a short story about a girl who is feeling bad about herself. And, I don't know if we get in trouble.
You want to go into
the
it now,
podcast.
or you want to wait till we get to the main part of the show?
Oh, I'm going to talk about it on the show. Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
It's pretty dark is what I'm saying.
Okay, well, put a pin in it for now. We'll come
put a
back to
pin
it
in
when
it.
we get to the
Yeah.
main portion of the show.
So anyway, so that was weird. And you're like, whoa, it's a game that just dropped. And then they just showed Sonic X Shadow Generations. And you're
Did
like,
you just
what?
say 4 words in a row?
Yeah, I did. And that's
You
what
picked
it is.
those out of the air.
I know. That's what it sounds like. And I was like, what? A new Sonic game? What is this? Third person running around? And I was like, it was just out of nowhere. And then it continued to feel like a dream because they showed off Judas, which is from the creators of the BioShock game.
Oh, I've heard about this. Yeah.
And it looked much more done than our earlier trailers.
Sure.
And it looked crazy and weird and very BioShocky and, dystopian. And then they showed off Metro in VR. Right. I mean, Metro, but it's just the fact that it was like an unusual experience and it looked really cool.
Right.
Then they showed off Rise of Ronin, which is
Okay.
coming out kind of soon. I think it's this year. And that felt kind of weird because it felt like real world, but also ninjas, and feudal Japan mixed with real world. And so that I was like, what is this game again? When does it take place? So it
Okay.
kind of confused me. And then they showed Death Stranding 2, which had a talking puppet in it. And it couldn't be weirder. So the whole thing just felt like there's a lot of weird coming at me.
Interesting. Well, okay. Well, I will reserve judgment. We haven't seen anything. I don't really know anything other than what you just said about it, so we'll check it out. But
Yeah, it just
You
it's like
know-
feels like a fever dream. But all those games are like a lot of them are coming out very soon.
interesting. As far as Death Stranding, did they give a date on that? Death Stranding 2?
Oh no, they didn't. But they didn't. But they also showed off, or they teased that he's working on another thing,
Oh, okay.
which
Well,
I'll let
whatever.
you watch.
I mean, I don't know. As far as Death Stranding 2, I just want to go on record now and just say I'm going to buy that day one. If we can't get it good, I'm just going to pay full price for it. Because Death Stranding ended up being like one of my favorite games of all time.
Yep.
I still think the story is complete like rancid horseshit, and I don't care anything about the story at all. But that gameplay, something about that gameplay connected with me on such a deep level that I've replayed it. I think 3 times, 2.5 times, 3 times.
Yeah, crazy.
And I never replay games. And so he could just give me, I mean, I'm going to skip through all the cutscenes. Like, just, I'll let you know up front. I'm not going to know what the story is. I'm not going to care. As long as I get like a few more delivery devices and a bigger backpack and nicer boots, like that's all I need from that game, dude.
Well, that's what it has, and it has a spaceship. I was telling you.
Okay,
in
I'll
text
fly
message.
a spaceship. I'll do that.
I don't think you fly. I think it brings you to different areas, but it shows that you're like kind of getting around in different ways.
I mean, that works for me. Bigger, more areas, different areas. As long as it's not a poison swamp like they
No.
do in Dark Souls, I'm fine.
It looks like the same game, basically. It
Okay.
really does. And then they just added more stuff. But other crazier stories, including a talking puppet, which is scary as hell.
Okay.
So that's it. State of play. My biggest takeaway from it was to play Stellar Blade because I think it's April. It's like kind of soonish.
All right. Excellent. Okay. Anything else for you, or is that it for this
That's
week?
my only box today.
All right. I've got a couple of things here. Let me just check the script real quick to see what I know what I'm talking about. Okay. So basically two things, but one of them's kind of long. First, there's been a game that I believe is now available from Inkle, the people who just released Highland Song, and they've done that one that we was like a murder mystery on the passenger ship, and they did the one about, I can never remember the titles, the one where you're like decoding language in space and you had your boat that was in like the solar river and stuff, whatever. Every game that they make like is interesting and kind of literate and, you know, intellectual in a certain way. They've got a really good fan following. They also did that like 80 days or whatever that was on phones and stuff. Anyway, so they just released a new game, which kind of came out of like literally nowhere. It's called The Forever Labyrinth, and it's a free browser-based game that incorporates art from all across the world and different time periods of history. I don't know anything about it, but I got the PR drop. They're like, hey, would you mind mentioning this on the show? I'm like, yes, of course I will. So I'll check it out. And if you like Inkle stuff, it's probably worth a look-see. All you got to do is direct your browser over there. And I believe, it teamed up with Google Arts and Culture. I believe they got funding from like Google directly or their Arts and Culture department. So you just type in The Forever Labyrinth and Inkle, it'll come up. Otherwise it's goo.gle/Forever Labyrinth. You can go there directly if you wish and see what that is all about.
Cool. Check it out.
Yes, and the other thing is we got some email from Elio Campitelli, super fan, super listener Elio Campitelli. I'll just read this to you. Carlos, you have not heard this before, so this is new information for you. Let's read the letter, and then we'll just discuss, okay?
Okay.
Elio says, and also thank you for writing in, Elio. He says, in a recent episode, Brad talked about online distribution versus physical media. That was the one that you were not here for, Carlos, where I was like, oh, you should go back and listen to it, because I talked, like, the entire opening of the show was me talking about this.
Right.
And Elio says, I wanted to offer my take, perhaps from an underrepresented point of view in the American discourse. Living in Argentina, online distribution is absolutely fantastic. Access to actual discs is not common. You might see some windows with The Last of Us on display, but there's absolutely no way you'll get a copy of smaller or indie games. On top of that, due to currency and income disparities, the American prices are very expensive for us. So Steam, until recently, offered regional pricing, which made games much more accessible and played with the local currency. In November, they changed that policy, and now prices are more expensive and in US dollars, but even so, still around 40% cheaper than in the US. Also, there's the environmental perspective. Creating discs and moving them around must be extremely environmentally costly. The plastic used for the disc, the oil used to physically transport them and distribute must be massive compared to the cost of sending information through the internet. Without online distribution, games would be much less widely available and less affordable outside the US and other big markets. So, when people rail against online distribution, it always feels a bit like a very first world problem. It's also a bit misguided, I think, because it doesn't matter at all if the data gets into your computer or console via the internet or physical disk. What matters is how the DRM is implemented. Even with physical media, if a game implements DRM via online server, then the parent company can unilaterally decide to shut down those servers and you will lose the ability to play it. In terms of preservation, nothing is stopping libraries and other archival institutions from making long-term backups online distributed games. Again, DRM here is the enemy since neither disks nor backups are useful if the DRM server is shut down, and for this, pirated games with DRM removed might be the way to go. Now, I don't want to take my own experiences as the experience in these countries because it's also very limited. I only play on PC, have never owned a console, and I live in a big city with good internet. But I do want to highlight that gaming is a global phenomenon and that these conversations should be centered not only around the American markets. Anyway, great show as always, Elio. There we go. Thoughts, Carlos?
All right. Yeah, definitely. Like, I think in general, when we have conversations about the industry and all that kind of stuff and games, we're definitely, thinking U.S. and
sure.
Gaming is obviously global. And yeah, that's 100% right on the actual physical media and all the kind of, toll it takes on the world, you know what I mean? In general, like how it's transported and made, all that kind of stuff. I would say A lot of people want physical media that are collectors. I feel like most of my friends that I know who want physical, it's just because they want to like have it in their house or something. You know, I'm not that person, by the way. I just want to play the game.
I was actually just going to ask you. Let's pause on that for a second because I'll circle back to this after you talk. But where are you standing? What's your stance on physical media versus online right now? I think I have an inkling in my mind, but for the record, like what's your take on it right now?
Well, yeah, let me finish that thought and the fact that like, you know, these are the three sections. One is the section of, you know, people who want to keep the actual thing for collectors. So I'm not in that camp, okay? What my take is I don't need a physical media, and I haven't for a long time. Most of my, almost like, 99% of my games are online or, you know, downloaded. And then, but kind of on the other side of it, and to his point, like I'm just freaked out that they can just shut my game off at any time too. Like I don't like that, right?
Right.
The DRM part of it. So it's a double-edged sword. I don't need it, and I'm happy that I just can quickly download a game when it comes out. I mean, I'm literally 9 p.m. West Coast. If it comes out at midnight, you know, I'm downloading it. And that's cool. That's a service for me because back in the day, you had to have to go wait in lines or go to a store, and they might not have it. So that's where my stance is. I love it. I love digital. But I also hate DRM. That's bad. And I hate the fact that preservation can't happen with any of my games. Like, you know, all of my PlayStation games could be gone in a second. You know, in a second.
Yeah,
if something happens with the
yeah.
server.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then like literally the other day I bought that Topspin game, or not Topspin, AO Tennis, and it connected to the internet. So I hated that. You know, so there's parts of me that don't like the always on bullshit. But that said, 99% of my games are online.
Yeah. Well, I wanna thank Elio for that email. I think that's really great and important to keep the global situation in mind. We kind of are an American-centric podcast just by default because we are Americans and we're in America. So that's just kind of our baseline. But, you know, we definitely want to take into account like the international situation, different countries and different realities for people around the globe and game. And that's what's great about games, right? Is like anybody around the world can play a game. Now, whether it's on a physical disc or download or whatever, you know, it can be very different situations. So, and in fact, we have a couple of international writers, more than a couple, at Game Critics. And it's always interesting to hear whenever they're requesting a code, like what platform they request for or what they have access to. So I'm definitely, you know, I haven't lived that international life myself, but I do talk to our international writers and I get a little taste of that. So I'm glad he brought that. I'm glad that Elio, they brought that forward. I think I used to be all physical all the time because I definitely am a collector, right? I have that collector mentality. I've always been a collector of things ever since I'm a kid, you know, collect video games, collect comic books, collect action figures and stuff like that. So that's just, it kind of appealed to me. But as time has gone on, I've definitely let go of collecting physical games. I haven't bought a physical game in quite some time. And I think part of it is because it's just not a thing anymore. Like it's so hard to get every game that you want. And it was so frustrating to not have access to certain things that I was just like, whatever, I'm not going to even bother anymore because some games don't even come out physical. And sometimes it was like these limited editions. And like, if you didn't get your pre-order in, then you were screwed. And it just, the whole thing kind of felt bad. But also beyond that, you know, I'm looking at a stack of PlayStation 1 games. I mean, I've still got all my old stuff. I haven't got rid of any of it yet.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at it and it's like, okay, cool. Like I look at it, but I can't really play it because I don't even know where my PlayStation is. I mean, I have it still, but like, does it even work anymore? Will it even connect to the TV I have? It's like, I'm not in that space of where I feel like if you want to keep doing physical media, you've got to be really dedicated to it. Like you've got to have the right connectors and the right cables and the right TV screen. And, you know, like I'm not in that world. I don't want to maintain that stuff. And I don't really have a lot of nostalgia for old games.
Yeah.
And so I've kind of just let it go. So I think I'm definitely like more in the download side these days, just for ease of use and nothing else. But I do agree. I think that Elio brings up a great point that DRM is the devil. And as a society, we need to really look hard at how we implement DRM and how much control we are willing to give up of those things. I mean, currently it feels like 100% of the control is in the hands of the companies where we're just long-term renting things. For example, we lost internet a couple days ago. Some car crashed into a telephone pole or something, and my entire area lost internet. We still had power, but no internet. And guess what? I couldn't play a single fucking thing on my Xbox because every single game wanted to do like a check-in,
Yeah.
like on a system level, right? So I couldn't play, like none of us could play anything, and so
Well, Switch, you can play cards still.
that's true. Yeah, that's true.
Yep.
I could play the Switch, but like everything, like that day I was playing 2 different Xbox games and I couldn't play anything because it was like, we're not connected to the internet, and I'm like, I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
But like you said, anything can be gone in the blink of an eye. I feel like that is not inherently fair to the consumer, and so we need to adjust those things. DRM is definitely the devil, but I think that just with the state of things, maybe just, I don't know, maybe we should just let go of physical. And it sounds crazy. I wouldn't have said that 10 years ago, but now I think that's kind of where I'm at.
Well, in closing, the future is inevitable. So, and I'm a futurist. I think I'm a futurist.
I think you are. I think
it's
you
an
are.
actual thing. And I'm either like already ahead of the curve or like way too far ahead that people are like, Carlos, come back. You're not supposed to be out that way. Glitching through grounds, going through the wall. And yeah, I think that it's just inevitable. Like everything is going to be in the ether and we're just going to connect to it with our watch or our fucking glasses or, it's just going to be, there's not, and the big old boxes, that's silly. Like my big, huge honking Xbox and PlayStation are going to be gone.
Well, I'll tell you where I draw the line, though. I'll tell you where I draw the line.
Okay, but that is the future, so you can draw any line you want. But
I think you're right. No, here's the line I'm drawing.
Yeah.
I will never let Elon Musk put anything inside my brain. That is where I draw my fucking line.
The implants, yeah.
Fuck that.
Okay, what if it's not Elon, though, and it's just like, Sony or Microsoft has like the new console you can put in your head.
That's a whole other podcast because on one level that seems like the future and cool, but also DRM. And so I don't want any DRM on your fucking head. Like the minute you stop paying your monthly subscription, they shut down the left part of your brain. Like, no thanks, man. No thanks.
I think implants will always be that true line in the sand for humanity.
Yeah.
Not to make this a huge dystopian podcast now, but that is the inevitable, like, final. I don't want to say there's anything finality because there's also singularity talk. But it seems like once we get to the part of like putting things in us,
yeah,
then it's different. But up until that point, and what the future is pretty much now is that we don't really need boxes, and we really don't need to own things. So
we
that's
just need
just
better management, better rights negotiation, and more consumer privileges.
Well,
I think.
And this is my final thought. I just downloaded, which we'll talk about in the show. Well, I won't say what it is, but a huge game, and it's like 68 gigabytes, right?
Yeah.
That's on my PlayStation. That should never need the internet. Okay?
Yeah, exactly.
Ever.
I agree.
So when that thing happened at your house, you should have been able to play your 65 gigabyte game.
Fully agree.
Totally on your Xbox. And so that is the line. That's stupid.
All right. Well, again, thank you, Elio, for writing in. Hopefully, we addressed the issue. And if you have any more follow-up comments or anything else, please feel free to write in. And, of course, anybody else listening, we always want your feedback. We always want your thoughts and ideas. Send us a message. Send us anything. We'll read it. I guarantee you we'll read it on the air. And we'll have a nice discussion, and we'll give you a shout-out and all that nice stuff. So there you go. You can get the contact information at the end of the show, as always. All right, Carlos, I'm ready to move on to the main portion of the show. How about you?
Almost. I just realized this little box I kicked when we were walking out of the house.
Is that what you tripped over?
Yeah. We'll talk about our backlog games kind of in this episode. But one of my backlogs I was supposed to do, and I didn't because of a reason, which I'm telling you now.
Because of a reason? Okay.
I was going to go back to I Am Alive, and I was really excited
I forgot about that. Yeah.
I wrote it down, and then right after it is the words controller support.
There's no controller support?
There is, but it's half. Like in
half?
Steam does this all the time, and you wouldn't know. But they'll do it. They'll show the little controller, and then they'll like draw a little dotted line in the middle of it, and they'll say partial support.
Okay.
So some things don't work or just aren't mapped right.
Okay.
And you can even try to remap with Steam, but sometimes it just gets wonky. And I could not, for the life of me, get all the right buttons mapped.
Oh, no.
So I couldn't play it. I couldn't fucking play it.
Bummer. Like, what happened? Like, were you, like, pushing up and then moving left, and you push B and the guy, like, sits down? Or, like, what happened?
It was like I couldn't aim with my gun with trigger, or something. And I had to use the keyboard for, like, the gun. And I don't know. Maybe I'm an idiot, and people can call in or email in and say, here's what I should do. Or hit us up in the Discord. But I couldn't figure it out. And so I was like, well, I'll put it on pause, and I want to come back to it. But unless I don't think they're going to add controller support at this point. So
yeah, like 12 years after the fact or something. Probably that patch is not inbound. So.
I have to find a way to do it through Steam again. So, anyways, that's why I haven't talked about it yet.
I bet somebody out there knows something. I mean, maybe some clever modder, or maybe some fan of the game has some kind of answer. If anybody listening has an answer for Carlos, please let us know, because I would love to get his full report after all these years.
Yeah, I didn't get to go back, so let us know.
All right, there we go. That was housekeeping. Folks, we're rolling right into the main portion of the show here, kicking it off. Let's stick with you, Carlos, for now. Let's get back to what you mentioned in the housekeeping. Silent Hill, the short message, which you said dropped on the same day as the Sony whatever, Direct or Showcase or whatever it's called. What's it called?
State of Play.
State of Play. I don't know anything about this other than what you just said, so why don't you go ahead and fill us in?
Right, yeah. I just was going to talk about it in the housekeeping, and here it is now. It's called Silent Hill, The Short Message. Like I alluded to, I think it's important. It's about a young girl who is on her cell phone in kind of a place that she doesn't know, like a house or a big warehouse building. And can't tell if it's a dream or real, like very Silent Hill-ish. And while she's on the phone, they do a couple things that are really interesting. She'll text. And you do that thing where, you hit the button for you to reply to the person, kind of interactivity. Mm-hmm. And so she's texting a friend, and I guess recently one of their friends died, and that kind of comes up. And she's feeling really bad about herself and feeling like she doesn't want to be around anymore. And me personally, I was like already in these kind of dark places myself sometimes recently. And so it wasn't the best game for me to be playing. But at the same time, I appreciate these games because they're helpful for people, right? Like the very beginning of the game, it shows the prevention hotline stuff, right? Like that's up on the screen.
Oh, they literally do like a little PSA message?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I was like, oh, this is going to get, into it. And it does. And again, I think it's important because it's bringing up, things. But at the same time, it's pretty dark. So anyway, so she's in this warehouse and she's kind of freaked out and it's creepy. It feels very dreamlike. And there's like all these sticky notes that say that, you're worthless, you're not good at anything, and making her feel worse about herself. It also brings up the likes and stuff in her Instagram account. Like she wants more likes. She wants people to see her and, value her, and she doesn't feel that. And all at the same time, there's these couple like short segments where there's some sort of creepy Silent Hill monster and they're chasing you. And they actually got me with one jump scare, and they never do. And, it's all like, it looks beautiful and stuff like that. But in these in-between segments of like investigating and being scared by this monster, you cut to this girl. I don't want to spoil anything, but you cut to a girl that was one of your friends, and she's supposedly in this warehouse somewhere. You're supposed to find her. But when they cut to her, it's live action.
Oh, really? Weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's really interesting. And then it goes back to you exploring this weird warehouse. And yeah, it's about, people not feeling valued and not wanting to be around anymore and losing people. And at some point she's like standing on the top of a building, wondering what she should do. It's crazy. Like it's really dark. And so I'm on a double-edged sword about it because I think like it's helpful to know that you're not alone. And, if you're feeling bad, other people feel bad too. But it's also like weird to put monsters in there like Silent Hill.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I'm already scared. You know what I mean?
Right. This is already psychologically disturbing.
Yeah. So when the monster started scaring me, I was like, or chasing me, I was like, I don't really want to do this. Anyways, I did half of the game, I think. It's a very short experience, but after like half of it, I was like, I'm good for right now. You know what I mean? Like, it was way too close to home for me.
Yeah.
So I'm telling people that right now because they think it's like a cool Silent Hill short game that's normal Silent Hill, which is like just creepy. It's not. It's really just a message. That's why they call it the short message.
The short message, yeah.
And I think it's to help people, which is good. But you really do have to be in the mindset to be able to handle it because it's.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like the short message is don't tie your self-esteem to online likes and popularity. That's kind of the message I was getting from you right here.
Yeah, but the other message is about like it's life is difficult, and when you're down, know that other people are feeling that same way too. There's like a third message too, but whatever. Yeah, I just think it's interesting, interactive experience, and I like they did it, but it's some tough material.
Is the third message, please pre-order Silent Hill 2 remake?
I know, right? But it's not tied to Silent Hill 2. It's not like
Sure.
tied to the remake. But
Right.
I don't. If you remember that, what is it called? Direct again of Silent Hill. There was like 8 Silent Hill experiences or games coming out soon. So this is one of them, and yeah, I think it's interesting, but pretty dark.
And it's free, and you can download it now,
It's
right?
free,
Was
you
it
can
limited
download it
time,
now.
or is it's just up?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know if it's limited, but you can check it out now.
All right, there you go. Silent Hill, the short message.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know if anybody remembers, but a couple weeks ago we were talking about stuff that was on sale on the PSN store, and I bought I want to say I bought 5 games for under $10 total.
Mm-hmm.
I was just fucking around and just I was like, oh, I should try some of these things. And we have previously talked a lot about keeping crap off of online stores where the curation is not where I think it should be. I feel like having crap on your store just makes your store look like crap. It doesn't really broaden horizons for anybody. It doesn't seem like you're a good store for having all these choices. It just seems like you should really keep some of this shit out. So in the interest of being fair, I decided to take $10 and get some of these cheapy games they're on the PSN store. They're also on Xbox. This is not in any way like an anti PlayStation rant or anything. This is more about a crappy store curation rant.
Yeah.
And that goes for everybody, Switch included. So I picked out 3 games, and they were all, I think, either $2 or under. First one was called Super Box Delivery. One was called The Czech Run, as in Czechoslovakia. And the third one was Steampunk Voyage.
Okay.
Played all of these, and I mean, I was right. These are all really shitty games. First one, Super Box Delivery, is probably the best one, but that's not saying a whole lot. That's the best of the worst. Basically, you play this little car that can't stop. You're driving up a road, and you got to pick up boxes as you drive, and then the more boxes you collect, the more points you get, and you're just dodging cars that are incoming. I mean, it's the most basic thing. You could have played this on I don't know, Atari. The graphics would have been worse, but basically the same game. It was just really nothing really to write home about. The Czech Run, I will say I got a big laugh out of it, but it wasn't a good laugh. In this one, it's a 2D auto-scrolling platforming running type game that you would play on your phone. You play a person, I guess, who's in Czechoslovakia. It's this guy. You run and you grab a stein of beer. There's lots of beer all across the course. So I guess the message is people in Czechoslovakia drink a lot of beer while they run. And then the game just gets faster and faster. So you just run over these platforms, jump over pits, grab beer, and you got the beer in your hand the whole time. And it goes so fast. It's to a ludicrous degree that human reflexes can't keep up. And I was just mashing jump and whatever. I mean, I got the experience in 20 seconds. And then after that, it was okay, I'm good.
Yeah.
Didn't really, nothing.
These sound like phone games.
I mean, bad
worse.
phone games. Yeah,
Yeah,
bad
yeah.
phone games. And that's
That's true, because phone games nowadays are incredible.
some of them are.
Yeah,
Yeah,
some are really good.
The last one, Steampunk Voyage, it had some pretty cool art. You look like you're a dude in some kind of steampunk armor. You got a jetpack. I'm a sucker for jetpacks. There's no tutorial of any kind. No on-screen prompts. There is a little control map, but you're in this weird land that has a bunch of floating islands and giant robots walking back and forth. It's the same robot. They just copied it multiple times. And you have to fly with your jetpack with these kind of floaty physics, and you have to touch blue glowy spots for some undetermined reason, and you just kind of just fly around and touch these spots. And I'm okay, I get it, and I don't want it to get any more. So this is a really interesting experiment because I chose these things at random. I was trying to be open-minded to give these things a shot. I was trying to see if the curation would be something. Maybe it would be a little surprise, a little bonus for me. Maybe I was being too harsh, right? No, I was correct. I was right the first time, as I usually am. Ha ha ha. And I just wasted my $10. And I feel like this kind of stuff, it doesn't belong on the PlayStation Store. If you're a first-time developer and you're learning your craft and you're, that's cool, man. That's cool. People got to learn this stuff. People make games and they learn how to do it and they make better games as they go. That's all great. But your pet project does not need to be uploaded to the PlayStation Store. And if I was the PlayStation curator, I'd be we don't need this stuff on our store.
Yeah.
I don't know who's buying this stuff other than me. And there's just so many other experiences that are better and more well polished and bring more to the table. So this is, I mean, if you're going to put it for free on itch or something, because this was something you're proud of making because it's your first game, cool, more power to you. nothing against that, but like this kind of stuff doesn't belong in the store, and I was proven correct, and I don't think I'm going to do this experiment again because I would rather have my $10. So,
well, by the way, was it different publisher developers?
they were all just at random. They were all completely
Okay.
unconnected and different. Yeah.
You're right, because I've done the same thing. Remember, I played my huge. What was that one? I jumped up as a pig. I went upwards.
Your
as a
various
pig.
jump games and
Jump
stuff.
games,
Yeah.
But the point is that they are lots of times. And again, no offense, but lots of times the ones they're picking at least are worse than games on itch.io. Like,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I love
for
itch.io,
sure. And that
you
wasn't
know?
a slam against itch by any means.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Apologies to itch. That was
What
not
I'm
a slam.
saying is, like, there is some experimental RPGs that I wish were on my PlayStation that are on itch.io.
Yeah.
So this is a perfect example of curation gone wrong, because we're not saying we don't want cheap indie things on our bigger consoles.
Right.
And by the way, Switch can do the same thing, because I remember last time I was on there, which was a long time ago. I will be on again when we get the Switch 2. And I saw a ton of shovelware that was like,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
never going to play this.
This goes for all of the publishers. This is
Yeah.
not pointed at anybody specifically.
So, but all of them need to get, like, hire somebody. They could hire me, by the way, or you, either one of us.
Easily. I'd be happy to do it.
Yeah, and oh, man, that's a good job for both of us, actually. And yeah, because like I could right now go to the homepage of RPGs on itch.io and be like, those 5, like the top 5.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Put
for
them
sure.
over, and I would, because a lot of us, including me, want to get off the PC. You don't ever get on your PC to play Steam games and stuff like that. And I would do that itch.io game on my TV. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally agree, dude. I would much rather see the experimental stuff from Steam or from itch or from any other like small indie thing where they've got a cool concept and just add some controller support, get it on there. I would much rather give you my $2 and have this weird experimental thing than to give $2 to this like shovel. I don't even want to see this stuff in the store, dude.
Yeah, I don't either.
So it just feels like the lowest fucking possible effort. Like no real value to it. Just trying to catch people who like only have $2 or maybe don't know any better. They got to do a better job. Xbox, Sony, Switch, they all got to do a better job at curation.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, that was it. That was my $10 rant. Moving on.
That's like a Carlos segment, and you did it. That's
It
fun.
kind of is. It is. You kind of inspired me a little bit, and I wanted to just test it out. Was I being too harsh? Was I being too narrow-minded? Nope. I was fine. I'm
You're
good.
right.
I'm right on the money. So anyway, all right, moving on. Palworld, Carlos, a little known game. I haven't heard anything about it. I don't see anybody talking about it.
No one's talking about it.
I bet they probably haven't sold very many, but you're playing it. In fact, you played it last week. You talked about it last week, and now you're circling back. So fill us in on this little known anonymous game called Palworld.
Anonymous equals 19 million sold. And so sold is an asterisk because it's like 12 million on Steam or something, or I think like that, and 7 million on Game Pass. So Game Pass, of course, is in quotes free, but you still are paying for a subscription.
Sure.
So, Palworld, Pocket Pair, the developers, got some money. I don't know how their deal worked with them, but it's got to be something. You know
I'm
what I
sure
mean?
they're very happy, whatever their deal was,
Yeah.
because those numbers are huge numbers.
And 12 million on Steam, or not 12 million, 9 million, let's say, on Steam times $30 is very good.
That's a lot of money. I don't know what that is, but that's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. So, yeah. And also, a quick apology. Last week, I was just so excited and crazed about it that I think it was just a rant. And I don't know if any of it was, like, understandable. If anybody caught anything I said in that review, I think I just did a run-on sentence. But I'll try to go a little slower this time and explain why it's so cool. I think last time I mentioned that this developer made a game before this called Craftopia.
Yes, that's right.
And that is a survival game with crafting and weirdness, like just weird shit in that game, including creating a bunch of like weird stuff at your base, like cows or different animals, like creating resources for you so you don't have to. And I think that's one of the key things about Palworld is, yes, they added these Pokemon-type creatures. A lot of them are their own creations, so some look similar and some are wildly different. Like, again, Depressio was just a depressed creature who's really funny. One of the ones I just got was like this huge sand crab, things that aren't in Pokemon. And then, although, is there a Pokemon sand crab? I don't know. I don't follow. But anyways, there's some really weird stuff and dragons and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I think the key component, which I think I might have mentioned, is why it's so addictive to me and a lot of like the millions of people playing, is because the loop is really fun and good. And when you talk about survival games, lots of times I just bounce because I don't want to run around getting things, and it just takes so long. But now in this game, these creatures aren't just to hold guns like the marketing says,
Yeah.
and do all this kind of craziness tagline stuff. They're really just super fun resources. Like I just made a new base, and I put down. I have so many different pals. I'd pick the pals that I like that do certain things. Like one is really good at mining, and I went to this place where there's all this ore, so you can get all the ore for mining. I put them down, made them some beds, made a hot tub next to them. Now they're just going, right? And it's like a automated system now. Like they still get hurt, they still get upset. There's things that I can fix, but in general, this keeps people on the hook. And why they keep coming back and why the concurrent number is so high for this game is because you're not managing all of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're setting these great little things up, these like systems.
These little automated systems.
These little automated systems. They could take out Pokemon. You could make them robots. You know?
Right.
You could make them cows like they did in Craftopia. And then these things help you, get the things you want, craft more things that are fun. Like I just made a crown for myself, and like, I made some really weird metal structures that I can make my house out of. I did all that because I've set up these systems. So I think that's one of the unsung heroes of this game. The other unsung hero I didn't mention last time, and I think you would, I think anybody would appreciate this. All the boxes that you put your resources in are shared, meaning like you just throw crap anywhere in any box, and whenever you want to build something, it just pulls the resource.
Oh, that's yes.
Isn't that
Thank
beautiful?
you. Yes, please. Thank you.
Every game needs to do that from here on out.
Quality of life. Let's do it, please.
Yeah,
yes.
it's called global, like a global allocation.
Yes.
So these are the unsung heroes of why this game's good. Everyone's focusing on a Pokemon with gun. And again, it takes a lot of time to make a gun. Guns have ammo, by the way, and run out super fast. So I don't use guns in this game. Like I just have a really good, spear, and I do some melee. And I have these two cats that I love, Mao and Mao Crystal. And they're these two little cute cats, and they just crush. They like just destroy everybody with their weapons and their not weapons, their magic powers. One just crystallizes everybody and does all these frost powers. The other just has magic, like dark magic. So I'm running around with a spear and two cats. But yeah, I just think that like the marketing or the thing that you might be getting, the tagline of Pokemon with guns, is not really what this game is. This game is super addictive, and the systems in play are what keep you. The third thing is, and why I'm still playing it, and this is my update, is it does have that mix, like I said last week, of Elden Ring, where the map opens up as you go further. Some places you can't get to because it's too hot, so you have to craft armor to get, to be able to deal with the heat, or it's too cold, so you have to have armor for that. And then you can just find weird dungeons. And you can go and defeat a boss in a dungeon. Or some dungeons have like just random resources in them. But that explorability is another reason why people are playing this game, right? It's not like I feel like every Pokemon game I've ever played, to just do the comparison, it's like I know what this is the town, this is the woods, and I'm going to randomly find some Pokemon and have to battle them. But like I don't know what the fuck I'm going to find in this game, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's an island somewhere and it's just got some weird tree on it and you get points from it. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Or there's an NPC in this, I found this fisherman town and all these NPCs were there for selling stuff. And I didn't even know that was a thing in the game, that like all these little kind of, what are they called? NPCs that sell stuff.
Like a shopkeeper?
She's like a shopkeeper. Yeah. And then there's wanted levels like Grand Theft Auto. So if you do too many bad things like kill humans, like guards will show up, and there's literally like different levels of being in trouble, which is totally GTA. So yeah, this game is just a lot of things, and I think that you put them all together, and it's super addictive. So I can't stop playing it. I'm playing other games, but it is so easy to lose like hours in this game.
That's interesting. I definitely remember this, and like everyone else, we did remember it for being Pokemon with guns, but I do feel like the narrative has shifted, at least in my circles, because I still see people talking about Palworld every day, and everybody has really dropped the guns. I don't really even hear about the guns. What I hear about now is like the base building,
Yeah.
and that kind of a thing, which seems to be like, from what you're saying, the true personality of this game. They marketed it in a very canny way to get people's attention, but now that they're in, they realize there's more to it than just blasting animals with other animals and stuff. So I don't think this is my jam. I'm not, to be honest, very little interest in this, and that's okay because not every game is for everybody. But it is interesting to see how deep you're getting into this and how popular it's become. I figured it would do like okay, just because just the novelty factor alone and how many Pokemon fans are out there. But like, it seems like they've really tapped into something. So that core of the crafting and the automation and the exploration must really be popping, dude. So yeah, congratulations to them.
Congratulations, but also it's such a good what's the word I want? I'm losing all words today, but it's like a point that you can look at for developers, and say this is something we can do, which is one, mash a bunch of ideas together. Okay, that's one thing. But the other thing is that experimental nature and weirdness factor goes a long way in games.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Why was Skyrim, again, I always go back to Skyrim, but Skyrim was really massive because it was like, I don't know what the fuck's going to happen. I put a pot on this person's head, and it just walked around with a pot on their head. Or I stored all these, cheese wheels, like just weird shit. And I think that's to reuse the word, unsung hero of a lot of games that are super popular, is that you don't know what's going to happen. GTA is a perfect example. GTA Online, biggest game in the world, okay? Prints money. But what is it? If you watch YouTube videos, it's what the fuck is that? A helicopter jumps or smashes into a car, the guy jumps out, they steal something, whatever. It's the random craziness.
Yeah, the weird reactions, the weird things that happen, the unexpected, the kind of like spur of the moment. What is the term for that? I can't remember what the term is called. Like where it just kind of happens unscripted,
Yeah, I can't think of a word either. All of the words
emergent gameplay.
Emergent gameplay, yes. I think that is, again, what's happening here. Because a good example, and this is my last Palworld story for now, is I just built this base near this ore mine. It's so cool. I have like all the resources I need now. And I built my own house. I just redid the whole thing. Made my own house away from all the craziness because it's like, all these automated systems, pails running around, all this stuff. So I made my house like on a hill nearby.
Did you say pale?
Oh, geez, you fucker. I'm saying it this whole time, and everybody listening is like, he's saying it wrong.
Sorry, I just had to circle back to last
It's okay.
week.
It's a comment on all the TikTok videos. I just stopped saying the word, by the way, in my videos. I built this house up here, and, it's outside of my zone. Two stories real quick. So it's outside of the zone. They pick a like a blue circle around your zone where your base is. And so my house that I started building is halfway outside of that zone just because it's better. It's like more space. So I built it and I'm working on it and it's a work in progress. I go up there one day and half of it's on fire. And I go, what the fuck? And what happened is I have one huge fire creature and he does like all this kind of lumbering for me and stuff like that and burning things. Anyway, so wolves had attacked my house, unbeknownst to me, and they were just fucking shit up. They were like smashing my wall, and because it was near the outside of the zone, and they could do that. They can aggro out there. So I was like, fuck. And so what happened is that fire creature that is on my side started fighting the wolves, but he's fire. So he did like a fireball and it hit my house.
Little collateral damage, friendly fire going on.
Oh, yeah. Collateral damage. I had to like repair the whole half side of the house. And that's what I'm talking about, okay? The other thing is like when I first started building that base, a huge like level 35 creature was in the area where I was building the base. Like he just showed up. And I was like, oh, you can't be here. You know what I mean? Like this is my house now. And so I had to build a fence. I had to wait for him to leave. That I'd build a fence so he would never be able to come back in. And so he tried to come back in. He turned around and went away. And I was like just waving at him. See you later, buddy. Get the fuck out of here. This is my house now. But anyways, the emergent gameplay of that like creature just showing up,
Yeah,
all these things are like, you don't know what the fuck's going to happen. It's really cool.
Well, it adds spice. That's like a really cool thing in any game, right? Where you feel for just that briefest moment, like, oh, like it's kind of alive for a second. Like I didn't expect that to happen. I didn't, like it's almost you can kind of immerse yourself just like one level deeper because you tried something or some monster responded in some weird way or some, it just wasn't all scripted. Like you're not just pushing a button and advancing the campaign. Like you're kind of like, living it a little bit, which I think is really cool. I think it's a very great experience. Some of my favorite moments, are like that. Like there's a lot of that happens in Death Stranding. A lot of that happens in Fallout New Vegas. And in fact, I'm playing Rogue Trader still. Some of that stuff happens as well, where sometimes just like something happens. You're like, oh shit. Like I didn't think that was going to happen. That's, I love those moments. So I get it. I get why people like this,
Yeah.
not for me, but I can absolutely see the appeal for sure.
Well, and you add one other special ingredient is the fact that Game Freak has been like under delivering on Pokemon games.
They've been pretty comfortable.
Yeah, they're comfortable, but also like they released a broken game, their last game, or semi-broken, I heard. And on top of that, we underestimate, or at least I do, the amount of people and like the success of Pokemon. Like obviously it's massive, but someone somewhere said something like it's like number 2 game in the world ever or something crazy. Like
yeah.
all those people have to go somewhere if they're not
There's a
playing.
hunger for it. There's a fan base for it. Yeah. Even like adjacent, right? It's not even like a legit Pokemon thing, but it's close enough. And
Right, that's
and
exactly
it taps
it.
the new, it taps this. I'm sure that like people playing Pokemon have had all sorts. I'm not even getting to the fanfic. I'm just talking about like different modes people have imagined, right? Different ways to play, different things to do with the world of Pokemon. And like, I think this is like a step in that direction, right? Like I'm sure many Pokemon fans don't want to fight. They want to have their Pokemon and they want to just like ride them around, or they want to, like you said, like put them to work on a farm and have a Pokemon farm. Like they want to Stardew Valley, but with Pokemon. Like, and Game Freak hasn't really delivered many of those experiences that are outside of their core identity of the combat and the collecting. So I can absolutely understand like the hunger for something that's pretty close and that delivers a different flavor than Nintendo has been delivering.
Yeah. And I think that, I just think that to reiterate the combat, like me running around with 2 cats, and I have 1 bird that I fly. Like he helps me get to certain parts I can't get to. But like there's nothing more fun than running around where I can still do melee. And we didn't mention the dodge roll is actually pretty damn good. It's like this. It's kind of like this karate ninja dodge where you go left and right. It's crazy looking. It's like capoeira. It looks like capoeira.
Okay.
Anyways, and then the cats, when I send them out, they'll do crazy magic damage, and then you just hit L button. I'm playing on Xbox, and you just bring them back real quick, to heal them like a Pokemon. But by doing it all in real time, it's just what I wanted sometimes when I was playing Pokemon. Dodge roll, send out cat attacks, bring him back in, send out other cat. I have 2 different types of cats. Send him, jump on the bird, fly the bird, do an attack with the bird, jump off the bird, do my own melee combat.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I'm sure that's fulfilling a lot of fantasies that people have had using like the Pokemon IP. So many different ways that you could use this property and have different kinds of experiences and different kinds of adventures.
Yeah.
So yeah, kudos to them for swooping in and like, trying to deliver this thing that Nintendo has traditionally not delivered. But I bet after the runaway success of Palworld, I bet the people at Nintendo are like, wait a minute. Maybe we gotta do something here to freshen this up. So I bet we're gonna see some new stuff.
Competition breeds creativity, but
exactly,
they're not gonna finish to finish that idea of lawsuits. They're not gonna sue them. I don't think they're gonna. I think they had to do it early. I don't think they have anything to stand on now, and so I don't think that's gonna be a problem for them. Which is interesting, but they're just gonna have to create, like you said. They're just gonna have to now.
They're gonna have to step it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in closing, one more thing. Is I literally, my last video is I just was walking somewhere, and because this game is not finished, which we talked about last episode, early access, I fell through the ground. And so it was perfect because my name of my channel is Glitch Through the Ground, and I literally glitched through the ground. And while I was under the map, I explored and saw a lot of crazy shit. So
right on.
I like the weird, even if it's broken weird.
All right, folks, that is Palworld.
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 Okay, got it.
Moving on. Folks, played a little game called Turret Rampage on the Switch. Was sent a code by the publisher. Thank you very much. This is a really interesting, very small, I almost want to say it's like a micro game. I saw some trailers and it looks just like something really simple, actiony, reflex based, which is good because I feel like I've been playing a lot of stuff on the Switch lately that is very slow and methodical and text based. And sometimes I just want to change it up. So I'm like, yes, I'd like to check this out. Basically, it's a I'm sure it must be a very small team, 1 or 2 people probably. And it's kind of this monochromatic pixel art where you have a very small screen. It's the size of the Switch screen. You have a turret. The turret can go up and down this central shaft. There's hallways on the left and the right side, and enemies approach in those hallways. So like your turret's in the middle, it goes up and down a couple floors. I think altogether there's 3 floors, top, middle, and bottom. And there's also a left and a right. And then monsters come from both sides and also the top, middle, bottom. And you just you move the turret up and down and flip the cannon around to fire, fire left, fire right, whatever. Very simple formula. Mm-hmm. In fact, so simple, it's one of those games where there's no text and there's no... It's like they try to give you everything via pictures so they don't have to translate into the different languages, and there's not really a lot to the game, so they kind of got away with it. There's 2 types of cannon shots, and honestly this took me a little while to figure out because again, there's no tutorial, so I'm like, what the hell's going on? Please explain this to me, but there's no language, so I just you muddle your way through it. One shot, I don't even know how to explain this. One shot is like a bullet and it kills a certain kind of enemy, but it kills him in 1 hit. But if you use the wrong kind of bullet on this other enemy, it takes 2 shots. And there's vice versa, because your second shot looks like a cloud or something. And that cloud shot will not affect the first enemy. It'll take 2 shots, but it'll kill the other enemy in 1 shot. So basically, you got to remember which cannon are you using, which bullet are you using, and then which enemy is coming. And so you'll see a guy coming, you're like, oh, it's monster A, hit him with the A cannon. And then behind him is monster B. Okay, hit him with the B cannon. And so you got to kind of remember back and forth. And they complicate it a little bit, because after a while you get a monster where his first shot requires the A cannon, but then to finish him off, you got to do the B cannon. So, and then
can I ask a question real quick?
Yeah, go ahead. Yes.
I feel like I got what you said, and it's a turret game.
Yes.
But I'm wondering for you personally, it seems like you do dig games that are kind of like math in a way. Am I getting this wrong? There's so many games that you'll play that are strategy type things.
Yeah.
Where you've got to figure things out.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that relaxes you or makes you are you into that?
No, I mean, I guess it depends. I mean, sometimes yes, sometimes no. But with this one, what I was looking for was something pretty small, small contained action levels. I could play a couple before I go to bed. And I wanted something where I didn't have to remember what was happening in the story, and I didn't have to remember.
Okay, yeah.
I didn't want to have any inventory to manage. And this seemed like a very actiony, arcadey focused game, which it is. And I think it's fine. It's just a very, very, very small experience. So small, in fact, that once I figured out, the difference between the A and the B cannon and the difference between the A and the B monsters. And then sometimes there's a monster that's AB. Sometimes there's a monster that's BA. And then once you figure out what's what, it just becomes a matter of execution. And the monsters just keep coming in the hallways. You're going up and down. You're shooting left and right, remembering which cannon is which. But that's 30 minutes of content, maybe less. And so I got through it all. They start you off with 7 or 8 levels where you're just the first one is play for 30 seconds and don't die. No problem. Then it's play for 45 seconds and don't die. No problem. And it goes up to I think the last one is 2 minutes and don't die. Okay, got that. No problem. And then once you're done with that one, the next one is play infinitely and then upload your score to an online leaderboard. And that's it.
It really is like an arcade game then at that point.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and that's it, right? So I feel like the mechanics are good. I feel like the controls are good. Having a little turret is kind of fun. Shooting back and forth, remembering the monster types, that's all fun. But I literally did everything this game wanted me to do in less than 30 minutes. And then when I got to the leaderboard, I'm like, well, I don't care about that. There's always going to be people better than me. And I don't want to I don't really care about being the world's best at turret Rampage.
Yeah.
So that didn't appeal to me. And in fact, I even emailed PR and I'm like, is there any more to this game? Because I feel like that was over in the blink of an eye. They're like, no, once you got to the leaderboard, that's it. I'm like, man, that sucks, because I feel like there's so much more they could do with this, right? You could have upgrades, you could have different cannons, you could have different monster types. You could have a little world where you go to, you drive your turret on this little rail and go to different parts of the world. You could have cute little cartoon characters have a little micro story in there. There's different kinds of turrets. There's all sorts of stuff they could do with this that they didn't do. And again, I get it's probably a small team, probably a very focused project. It's probably something they busted out and just, they didn't want to scope creep. I get it. And I like what they've done here. It's just such a small hors d'oeuvre of a game. I feel like just as I was getting into the groove, it was over and I had no interest in the leaderboard. So it's kind of disappointing that it was just like a flash and then it was done. So I liked it, but I mean, I was literally done in like 20 minutes or so, and I wish there just was more to it. There's nothing to unlock. There's no new levels. There's nothing else to it. So this is a good starting place, but I feel like I wanted there to be like 9 times more to it. You know what I mean?
Well, it's also $5, right? Like,
yeah, very
I'm
small.
looking at it on Steam, it's $5.
Yeah, small cost.
So it feels like that. It's like an experience. It's a short experience. And yes, you're right. It is definitely more arcadey than system-y. I just said that because I know that lots of times you'll play games on the Switch, which are like,
oh yeah, you're right. You're right.
Hey,
Yeah,
this is how I do this thing, and it's kind of like a system that I'm playing. I'm playing a system, but there's also a game in there. But yeah, this one looks like more like Tapper.
I mean, yeah, that's
old time callback.
If anybody's old enough to remember what Tapper is, or Root Beer Tapper, I guess it is kind of like Tapper, but with 2 sides to it.
Yeah,
basically.
yeah.
So.
Which again is a fun system, and is a little arcadey. Yeah, more arcadey, but seems like fun and short experience.
Yeah, I mean, I like it, and I think it's good. I just wish there was like 10 times more to it. I wish there was something else to unlock or more to see, more to do. I just felt like just as I was warming up to it, it was over. So, yeah. And that's something I don't say very often. So anyway, Turret Rampage, I like it. You want a quick 30 minutes of game time. It's good. Just know what you're getting into. So there you go. Over to you, Carlos, for a revisit to Granblue Fantasy Relink. And before you get started on your revisit to this, I will say that I was talking to good friend and super fan of the show, J Monster, and he's playing this as well. And he was very interested in what you had to say about this. He wanted to know if you had finished it, if you had gotten to the end game. He was kind of comparing it to Monster Hunter, and that kind of took me for a loop. I was like, wait, what? What? This is the anime combat game. What are you talking about? He's like, oh, well, when you get to the end of the game, there's like this other mode where you grind for resources. And I think that was the comparison of like, grinding for better loot and better resources once you get to that end game. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I didn't know about that. I guess it gets really tough and you got to play online and stuff. So he wants to know what you've got to say about that. And I guess I didn't know that even existed, but I am curious where you ended up and like, what do you think about all that?
Yeah, I think the game has 2 options, basically. You can play the game as a campaign, and the campaign is actually shorter than like the original Granblue Fantasy was like hundreds of hours long. Mm-hmm. I didn't play it, but I've heard. And this is like, 10 to 15 hours probably if you just like mainline the campaign.
Right. And again, not to interrupt you, but for my own memory, this is like third person, like real time combat action, right?
Third person with a party, with a team.
Okay. So kind of like a Tales kind of a thing, sort of?
Yeah, and you don't control them. They kind of just, do what they're going to do. They do their moves. And you can pick who you want to actually be in the party any time before the battle starts. But when the battle's going, it's just you're that person. That works fine for me because I'm always like the main character, So I never am the other characters.
Gotcha.
So that's the way it plays out. It's I think I mentioned last time. It's good dodge roll, third person action RPG, big bosses, but also like regular monsters and things like find the secret chest and tons of resources all around. And you upgrade your stuff. I don't think I mentioned it last time. You upgrade your weapons. You keep improving your weapons and unlocking them and getting them more high level. I like leveled all my weapons up really early because you're again finding those resources. But there's actually, to the kind of point of the Monster Hunter, even the main campaign is really boss heavy. Like every time you think you're like just at another part of the story, it's like dun 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 dun, and this huge golem comes out of nowhere. And literally I fought a golem in the sand, and after that you're like, oh well, now we're gonna chill and go back to town like an RPG. I'm gonna talk to people, do side quests. There's those, but in general the campaign wants you to go from boss to bigger boss. Like it really does feel like you are taking out bosses in this game. And I don't think I mentioned it last time because I didn't get far enough. So I don't know how I feel about that. It doesn't feel like a traditional RPG at all. Okay. And it does have that kind of online kind of, we could do this together. We could go on, there's a questing with friends kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And so it feels like a different type of RPG in that way. And like there's side quests, but it's like you collect shit while you're out and about. And then you go back to a town and say, hey, I got that thing you wanted. Right?
Gotcha.
That's the side quest. So it feels like it's got that almost MMO-ish component to it. But if you're just playing the campaign, it doesn't matter because you're really focused on just the story. So that's what I did at some point. I got mainlined it. I kept it on normal the whole time. Near the very end, a lot of it's bullet spongy.
Okay.
And I don't know why, again, even Tales, or not Tales, was it Tales? That just, Arise. Yeah, Tales of Arise
Yeah.
did the same thing. I also did the same thing near the end game. I turned it down to easy because it's just hit points.
Yeah.
And if you're doing that, again, developers listening, just don't. Like, there's no, I don't know who that's for. If it's end game, if it's truly end game and you beat the campaign, then that's fine. Make them bullet spongy. But in the campaign, it shouldn't be that. So I got literally to the last boss, which was like, 8 bosses. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, no, that's okay. I'll make that story mode. By the way, even in story mode, took a fucking half hour. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's still, I think that it was a fun time in my mind. I'm not going to review it, but it's like an 8. Okay. So it's like that. It's like, this is a fun ass time. And I kind of really like the story. But at the end, I was like, I'm ready for it to be over. Let's knock it down a story. Don't have to, spend a million years on this boss. And then they do this kind of episode 0. Like, you can keep playing. Like, there's another story bit, after the game's over. I haven't done that. I don't know if I will. And to his point, like, there's definitely like more bosses. There's definitely more things you can do.
Yeah, he was saying there was like 100 hours of gameplay after you roll credits.
Probably. I mean, you could always see in the game that they were alluding to, like, you don't have enough resources for that yet. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so that's why this game is 2 games. It's a short campaign. And if you want to just do that for an 8.5 kind of RPG, that's what it is. And I beat it. I don't know if I said that, but I beat it. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I don't think I will go to that grind thing. I think that's for certain people,
right.
But that's just not my jam. So I won't probably grind in it. And also there's another game I'll be talking about on the show right now that I'm addicted to. So, but I think it's a very solid RPG that's very fun. And yeah, it's just a lot of bosses. It really is.
Okay.
And a lot of it's hard to see what's happening on screen because, so much shit's going on.
See, that was my takeaway, right? Like, every time somebody recommended this to me, and not just J Monster, but other people have asked if I was getting into this. Maybe it is the boss heaviness that is kind of triggering the Monster Hunter comparisons. But like, when I was watching, I was like, am I thinking of the same game? Let me YouTube this again because maybe I'm thinking of something different. And I thought I was mistaken, but I wasn't. Because when I looked at these videos, it just looks like random anime stuff happening on screen, and I can't tell what's going on. I'm like, I don't want to play this. This is not my jam. No shade if people like it, but I'm like, nah. This is what I thought it was, and no, I don't want to play this. So
it's got Final Fantasy 15 vibes and 16 actually. 15 though, and Nier Automata, because at some point bosses do that thing where like you can't attack them; they're just going to shoot things at the screen, and it zooms out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so you're like literally just like running around things that are hitting the ground. And so that's the thing that's kind of annoying. But at the same time, when you do it right, it does that beautiful flow state where you're like, holy crap, how did we even do that? How did we win that fight? And there's limit breaks, these kind of cutscene moments and stuff. So it's really fun and flow statey. But then it is a lot going on the screen. And a lot more Nier Automata kind of running away from shots in the air and like explosions than I thought, and more bosses than I thought. So I was confused by the game, but intrigued enough to finish it, and I'm very glad I did. It's like solid 8.5 territory for me, like or 8 probably. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Fair. All right. That was Granblue Fantasy Relink, and I'm guessing you're probably done with it now, right?
I am. Yeah, but I'm not gonna. Like we said earlier, it's a digital download. I can download it anytime I want and go back and grind later on.
As long as the DRM is active. We'll see.
As long as they let me.
Yeah. All right. Last game for me coming up, and this is one from my backlog. So continuing our New Year's resolution of bringing a backlog game to the show. This is Frog Detective. I've been wanting to get to this one for a long time. I saw it come out on PC like a while ago, and I'm like, oh, that looks really cute. Looks weird and quirky. Might be my kind of thing. Gonna wait for the console release. They did release on console, and bonus, they released the entire thing rather than being episodic like it was in the PC. They collected all 3 of the investigations that the frog goes on, and they just like put it in one package. And PR did send me a code for this, so thank you very much. I appreciate that. Going to talk about it right here and right now. Basically, this is Oh, man, what is it even? It's like you play the frog detective, and I will say the game starts out really funny because you're the frog kicking it home. It's really rough, like intentionally basic, chunky, colorful, I mean, the frog looks like he's made of like 7 polygons or something, but it's cute and it's charming. And you're at home and you get called. Your boss is like, I need you to go on an investigation, and we wanted the world's best investigator to go on this. He wasn't available, so I'm calling you. And so,
Nice.
which is a good joke. I think the world's best investigator is called Lobster Cop. And the frog is like, yeah, he is the shit. He's better than me, but I'll go because you need number 2 and I'm number 2. So that's a good way to kick it off. But basically what you do is you walk around these little environments and you talk to other chunky, colorful, low poly, weird animals, and you kind of just figure out what's going on. The first case is you go to this island that's haunted, and you got to figure out, is it actually a ghost? Is it something else? The island is very small. I mean, we're talking about maybe like one large room size of space. It's not like open world or anything like that. And you kind of just walk around and talk to people, and then eventually, like, everybody wants something. So some guy's like, oh, you need a plate of pasta? Well, before I give you the pasta, I would like I don't know, like a necktie. And then you got to figure out who's got the necktie. And they're like, well, if you want this necktie, I want toothpaste. And so you got to figure out, it's like one of those chain quests where everybody wants something, you get the next thing, and then we've done these a million times. So it started off kind of like making me giggle a little bit, but I got to be brutally honest, and I'm so sorry. Apologies to everybody who's listening. I bounced off of this like so hard and so fast, because that's really all it was like you're just talking to these characters, and it's one of those, like, if you think it's really funny, then you're going to really like it. And I thought it was like, okay, like the first joke was great, but it kind of just went downhill from there. And it wasn't even like really jokes. It was just like, I'm very strange, and this whole thing is very strange. Isn't this strange? And if you like that vibe of strange, maybe that'll be entertaining for you. But I found it just to be kind of tedious. I was like, I'm not laughing.
Yeah.
And I don't think that this game is really doing anything challenging or clever in terms of gameplay, because it's just like one of those talk to every single person and then figure out who's got the thing you need, and then talk to them again and remember who needed the next thing. And I'm like, ugh, and with the dialogue not grabbing me, that's really all there is to the game, is just walking around and talking. And if you don't like the dialogue, there's not really a lot left to the game. So I started playing it, and God's honest truth, dude, I started getting like really sleepy, because I was like, I'm getting kind of bored of this, and nothing exciting is happening. I'm not laughing. It's not, there's no twist. It's just like, do you like this vibe or don't you? And if
That's
you
what I
do,
was going to say, it is a vibe. Yeah.
yeah, it's a vibe. If you like the vibe, then cool, you're going to like it. But if you're just indifferent to the vibe or don't care for the vibe, that's all this game has to offer. So I got really bored of it really quickly, and I didn't laugh, and I didn't like the vibe, and I bounced, which is a shame, because I think when you see screenshots, it's pretty cute, and I like frogs, and I like detectives, and the idea of mashing that together is fun, but it just didn't work for me, and I got out. I got out pretty quickly.
Well, you tried, and you played a game from your backlog, and I would say, yeah, to your point, it's like Night in the Woods. Like, if you like the vibe of Night in the Woods,
you're gonna love it.
You're gonna love that game, because that's all it is the whole time. And
if you don't like that vibe,
right,
you better get out.
And that's what this game is. It's like a vibe of those characters in that frog world.
Yeah, it's pure vibes game. So if you like the vibe, great. I didn't like the vibe. I didn't care for it. But there we go. Check off another backlog game. That was one I meant to get to. So there we go. Promise fulfilled this episode.
Yep. Good job.
Back to you, Carlos, for the final game of the show, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth.
Which has an asterisk next to it, because it was supposed to be a backlog game.
You were supposed to be playing just Like a Dragon. What? Like Yakuza Like a Dragon, right?
Yes, because that was going to be my backlog game to match yours. Infinite Wealth is the new game. Like a Dragon, the first one, came out for a while. I have the digital download. I started it. You'd beaten that game, the original, yes?
No, I've gotten very close. I didn't actually finish it, but I played a lot of it. Yeah.
Right. And so this is the Yakuza games. Like a Dragon was one of the, I think it might be the first one that turned it to turn-based.
Like a
combat.
Dragon is the first one that was turn-based combat, yes.
And I found that very fun and relaxing, and I thought there were so many good things about it. But like the Yakuza games, they are very slow at times, and on purpose, actually perfectly to the point of a vibe. If you like Yakuza vibe, you're going to like the Yakuza games, right?
Yes.
The vibe is sometimes it's very long cutscenes and long story. You might not ever even touch your controller for a very long time. And that's just part of it, right? Because they're building. I know they're building drama, like almost like soap opera drama.
Yeah.
And then they're building connection to characters and people and
Oh
yourself.
yeah, character's king in that game.
King. And then as Kasuga, you're like finding these different connections and working with those connections as well. So anyways, it's a real vibe about characters. So that first game, even though I really liked the turn-based combat, and I was going to go back to it for the backlog, it just got a little long in the tooth for me. Like, I wasn't feeling the vibe. And then I also saw online a bunch of people saying, like, yes, it'd be better if you play that one first because it's Infinite Wealth is a direct sequel. Like, literally.
Oh yeah, those games are always so story heavy. Yeah,
Story
for sure.
heavy. And it relies on a lot of knowledge, but also just like to get the vibe again, to reuse the word, of Infinite Wealth. It's good to have known what happens. But I had a bunch of other people on YouTube said like you could also go into it right away because it does a lot of like, hey, if you don't remember this guy or girl, this is the story. So that they do the recaps.
So they do a recap. Okay.
Yeah, not like a recap in the beginning, not at all. I'm just saying like as things happen, they'll do like, hey, do I want to like think about this for a minute? And then I'll give you a recap, right? Like,
Yeah.
It can happen throughout the gameplay, which I think is really smart.
Interesting.
Then again, it has a compelling enough story on its own that you don't, I'm just kind of into the idea to jump into it is, Kasuga is like out of the Yakuza. There's all the stuff that happened. No real spoilers, I guess, for this, preview, but stuff happened. He's out of the Yakuza. He's working a dead-end job, kind of a contractor job. Not dead-end, I shouldn't say, but he's trying to, like, give back to the community. And, like him, he's always, like, super positive and just trying to, like, help. And it's his, like, rebirth. Like, he's trying to figure out, like, what he's going to do with his life. And so you're kind of, like, immediately into the story. You kind of understand what's going on. And, yeah, the combat, to jump to that real quick, is what I've heard is just the better version of Like a Dragon, right? Like it's like they've iterated on it.
Sure.
And I will talk about the combat here. When you start the turn-based combat, there's a circle around you, and you can move around before you attack.
Okay.
Like which you're a big fan of when it comes to like XCOM games.
Oh yeah, positioning and stuff is always key.
Yeah. And so then if you say you position by a bike, then you can use that bike to attack with. You're literally picking, or you like want to hit people into people. You can hit someone back into the other enemy. Like, so two enemies take each other out. And that's all positioning. So I think they just nailed the final version of this, like, turn-based combat with positioning. And it's really fun. Other than that, it's very much like a Dragon. Later down the road, which I haven't got to yet, there's an Animal Crossing minigame. There's a bike delivery minigame. There's all these different things you can play. The Animal Crossing one is supposedly super deep. But yeah, it's just, I think they did a really good job of not needing that first game. And I'm just in. Like, I'm like, I'm kind of more in for some reason because I kind of like the story hits harder with me. And let me just touch on that real quickly. Without spoilers, he starts over. He has his job. He's trying to help other Yakuza who like also got, disbanded and they're not in the Yakuza anymore. But at some point, minor spoiler, this is the very beginning of the game, he loses his job. And so why this is also the game I'm going to play, because it touches close to home. All these layoffs happen. Okay.
Jesus. That's too real, man.
It also talks about the economy, and like the first game, it talks about homelessness. And, if you remember, Kasuga's like friends with a lot of people who are just
homelessness was a huge part of that first game. Yeah.
So it's still there, like, and they talk about the pandemic a little bit. And they talk about virality and views and YouTubers. And, I'm not going into too much of it, but like there's a part where he gets, Kasuga has a problem because I wouldn't say he gets canceled, but kind of. And, a YouTuber like helps hurt his career and like his person and his brand.
Oh, wow.
So it's like all these things that like totally resonate with not just me, but people living right now. And so I think that's why it's another easy in. It's like you don't have to have played the first game. It's like this is something I think a lot of us can understand.
Yeah, it sounds very of the moment, very current, very relatable on many ways, despite being, Yakuza oriented. I'm sure many of our listeners are probably not in the Yakuza, so, not that, but like just, our current society and the things that we deal with, especially online. I mean, that seems very, very relevant.
Yeah. So I think it is a great starting point for me. I'm not going to, so this is me saying I'm not going to go do the backlog right now. Maybe I'll go back to it. I don't know. But this just feels like that V2 of Like a Dragon, and it's like everything's better. And it's got all the weirdness in it, which I love. Again, back to the weirdness. The first weapon I got to upgrade my bat, I bought a giant vibrator.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And, okay, crass, yes. Funny, kind of yes. My other guy has a giant sausage,
Nice.
Anyways, there's this weirdness, and then like the best armor in the game is like 29 million yen or something. You can never afford it, and it's like golden underwear,
Sure.
So
what else would it be?
What else would it be? So there's weird stuff like that, but really why I'm so excited to immediately play it as soon as we're finished recording is that beautiful, which you can remember, that beautiful loop that they do, which is, yes, there's long periods of time where there's story, but when you're not doing the story, which you get invested in at some point, you're just like finding shit on the map. You're finding people to fight. And someone said this also in a YouTube video. It reminds me of Earthbound.
Yeah, a little bit. I
right?
can see that.
Because it's real world, but you're totally thinking everything's an RPG. Like Kasuga loves RPGs.
Yes.
And when he even sees certain people, he imagines them as bigger characters or monsters.
Yeah, that was a whole theme in the first one too. He was seeing the whole world as if he was in an RPG.
Yeah, so he still does, right? He's not going to change. And that just makes it feel like the loop of running around finding stuff, doing side missions, doing these mini games, then leveling up, finding weird new weapons, and then like you mentioned with Like a Dragon, having these intimate moment conversations with people that really kind of can resonate,
Yeah, for sure.
And then layer on top of that, this like the economy, layoffs, and YouTube and views, like it's just doing a lot of things. So I'd say the only con is that when they do the really over the top, like, oh, I'm going to ask a girl out, but I don't know what to do, And that's the whole beginning of this game, by the way.
Right.
He just doesn't seem like a real man, like a person. I shouldn't say real man, because what's a real man? But like, he doesn't seem like a grown person. You know what I mean?
That's a weird recurring theme in a lot of Japanese media, right? Like
it is
the insecurity about like asking girls out. And I mean, I am not qualified to comment on that from a learned cultural perspective, but I have noticed that being a very, very common and very often repeated theme in like anime and video games, where it's like some hero or something, but then he totally crumbles when it has to like ask a girl out or something.
It's so Japanese. And that is not even a stereotype. It's just what is coming from Japanese developers, which is like, taking this old school respect mentality that is still part of Japan, lots of respect and things done different ways than other people in other countries, but like multiplying by 100 when it comes to a video game, at times, because like even people using the most respect in the world would figure out at some point how to ask a girl out, maybe. The
species has to continue, so at some point you might want to like figure out how to ask somebody out on a date. So
it's just the longest version of this, the very beginning of the game was me /Kasuga figuring out how to like ask this girl out, and then literally talking to his buddies afterwards saying like, what did I do wrong, Anyway, so that's the only con for me, is those moments happen and I'm like, this is taking me out of the game, what I mean?
Right. Yeah, it's pretty silly, but
because and this is the last thing I'll say, the thing to totally double-edged sword, that the thing that keeps me in the game is all these guys are 40 plus, and they even comment on it. They're like, we're just 40 plus guys with no job, and like, what? And we're trying to be heroes. And I'm like, that's me. They're talking to me.
Again, too real.
Too real. See, this is too real in a good way. I'm like, I'll own up to being a nerd who also thinks he's in an RPG.
This is Carlos Rodella, the game.
It is. Carlos Rodella Kasuga. Wait, podcast title. Carlos Kasuga?
Carlos Kasuga, yeah. I was going to say
that's pretty good, because Kasuga is his last name. All right, Carlos Kasuga for the win. I am wildly into this game. And by the way, this is not a spoiler, but you go to the States in this game.
Oh,
Right?
do you? Okay, I didn't know that.
You didn't know that? Spoiler
Or he
for
goes to
Brad.
Hawaii or something, right? Doesn't
Yeah,
he?
Hawaii, right?
Okay, yeah.
I'm not in Hawaii yet. I've played this game for fucking 15 hours or something.
Right.
Like,
right.
I'm doing some side shit, but like, I'm not in Hawaii. Like, the game hadn't even fully started. So, this game's a time suck. I love it.
All right, sounds like good stuff. I love the first one. I'm sure I will love this one as well. But man, I'm gonna have to find time to like work these in. That's really my main opponent these days is time.
Oh, you would
Lack of
jump,
free
wouldn't
time.
you? Would you just jump to the new one, like with all what I just said?
No, I would go back and finish the first one because I
Oh,
really
you're
loved
so
it.
close to the first one.
Yeah, I mean, although shit, at this point, dude, I've forgotten most of it. So maybe I'll just restart it at some point. Who knows? Who knows? I don't know. But anyway, all right. Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth. That sounds like a win to me. Sounds like a win from you.
Yep.
All right, right on. And that's it for the show. That's the main portion of the show. No more games to talk about, but we usually do talk about TV or movies or something before we bounce. I don't have a lot this week, Carlos. You got anything?
I just have two things real quick. Public service announcement, because I've already seen it. And I don't know if you have seen it, but the series called Tourist. Did we talk about that on the show?
I don't believe so.
Okay, it's fucking incredible. It's Australian or New Zealand. Put it out. It's so fucking good. I love everybody in it. It just came to Netflix, which is so cool. I don't know how they.
And it's a
secured
movie
that
or a
deal.
series? Movie?
It's a series.
Series, okay.
Only like 8 episodes or something. You couldn't get it in the States for a long time. It was like, those things where you play it on the digital player and you can't access it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it was Australia. And so whatever their app was, I couldn't use. So I was like, but I've heard such great things about it. I downloaded it, watched it, told everybody I knew. And then now it's in the States. Now you can get it on Netflix, US.
Excellent.
So-
And what's the gist of it?
It's a guy who doesn't, amnesia. He doesn't know what anything about anything. And he's in a small little town and he's trying to figure it out, but he's also like surprisingly good at combat. You know what I mean?
Oh, sure. Okay.
Man, it takes some turns though. It's fucking great.
Okay.
I can't. If you haven't seen it, man, go do yourself a favor.
No, man. I've been pretty slammed. We have not had much time for anything this week.
It's a short
so-
series. It's a short series,
Okay.
and you liked some of my recommendations.
Is this family appropriate or not?
Ish. I mean,
Like a
there's
teen,
some killing,
like a teen could
but
watch this?
Yeah, nothing terrible.
Okay. All right. We'll give it a shot. All right.
And then I'm
Fair
also
enough.
watching Mr. and Mrs. Smith, which is the reboot. There was a movie, obviously, but this is a series on Amazon.
Yeah. Who's the stars of
So
this?
it's Donald Glover, who I love from Atlanta and everything
Yeah,
else and all his
yeah.
music, and Maya from Pen 15, which is an incredible series.
Oh, I love that series. Yeah.
And Maya, she's amazing. Erskine or whatever his last name is. And so they basically sign up to do these high risk jobs, and they get paired up with each other. I never saw the movie, by the way.
I didn't see it either.
Yeah. So, but they're like a fake husband and wife team to do these missions that are like super, dangerous missions. And they're all pretty skilled at like weapons and stuff, but it's really about like kind of to go back to the emergent gameplay. It's like the messy situations they find themselves in.
Is it like
Like-
comedy or is it serious?
It's serious and comedy. It's that
Okay.
beautiful drama that's got moments of special, quietness, but then also comedy and
Okay.
action. And there's a lot of action. Each one's amazing. The first two are directed by, what's his butt? I always forget his name. He directed, basically directed some of the Atlanta.
Okay.
I always forget his name. I apologize. And so it's just directed beautifully. And then Donald Glover actually directs the finale. So it's fucking good, man. I'm like, I had a good feeling. I'm usually a pretty good judge of character when it comes to these shows. It's very good, man. It's very, very good.
All right. So noted. So noted.
Those are both very special. Please check them
All
out.
right. Check them out. Carlos recommends.
I do.
I don't have anything that good this week. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I haven't had a lot of time to watch a bunch of stuff. We've been kind of dipping into little things. My son.
Wait, are you
has-
watching an 80s show?
Well, I am, but I'm watching something else too.
Okay.
My son has been watching. He wants to watch One Piece. We watched the Netflix adaptation, which was actually pretty great.
Yeah.
I really liked it a lot. But he's like, "Well, we should watch the anime now." And I'm like, "Well, it's like 1,000 episodes." He's like, "Whatever. We got nothing but time." So I'm like, "Cool." So we start watching it as a family. Like we were all into the One Piece Netflix thing. We thought it was really fun, and we wanted more of that. So we start watching the anime. I think I might have mentioned it before, but we got about 20, 25 episodes into the anime, and I'm out, and my wife is out. My son is still watching it, but I'll tell you why I'm out is because the pacing, dude, is like, oh my God, it is so slow. It is so slow. Like, the stuff they do in 1 hour of the Netflix adaptation takes them like 15 episodes of like the half hour like anime series. Like in one of the episode descriptions, it says Luffy throws a punch, and they're not kidding, dude. He threw one punch, and that was it. And like they just talk the rest of the time, and it's usually stuff that you already know. Like they just rehash the same stuff that's been established. The bad guy will show up and say the same rationale that he's already said like 5 times already. They like it's just like, dude, move this forward. It is so frustrating. So I like Luffy and the One Piece stuff. We had a great time with the Netflix adaptation. I even have a copy of the One Piece RPG. Did you ever play that, by the way?
Yeah, I did for a little while, and I definitely bounced at some point.
Was it just two standard RPG?
Yeah, it was boring. I think I was just bored. Yeah.
Okay, maybe. So I even got a copy of that back in the day. So I'm like, okay, maybe I'll play some more of this because I would like some more One Piece media. I want to consume more of that like a good consumer. But fuck, dude, like I just can't. You know, we got to the part where they're fighting Captain Kuro, the guy with the really long finger swords, and it's like 9 episodes, and the fight hasn't finished. They've barely even done anything, and I'm like, dude. I'm dying in real time. I can't watch this anymore.
Let me tell you why, okay?
Why?
I have an answer for this.
Okay.
This is a whole dissertation we can do. We won't do today. But it's on that. When did that come out? What was the 90s?
No idea. Probably, I don't know, 90s maybe.
It's older, right? So
yeah.
Even 80s probably. Like 80s and 90s anime had this thing where I don't know if it was because they were trying to sell ads or, cereal or toys or whatever. And it happens in the He-Man world too. Where actually He-Man's a good example. Like the final boss never gets taken down. Like
sure.
Remember Voltron?
Oh sure.
Lothar, I remember him all the time. I hated that guy. They could never finish him off. He would just keep showing up.
Sure.
And so you never feel like you accomplished anything at the end of the episode besides some character shit. So I feel like that was just like par for the course. Nowadays we're spoiled with like these mature, great, amazing storylines that happen in not just anime, which is at a renaissance right now, but in TV shows. So I just feel like there's some of this time period where like they were just making filler fucking episodes.
I mean, I definitely think you're onto something there, but I will say in contrast, Voltron, G.I. Joe, Thundercats, Transformers, He-Man, you at least got a complete battle in one episode. Sometimes even 2 battles in one episode. And maybe Skeletor didn't die, Cobra Commander got away. They got to keep the show going, I get. But at least you got a battle out of it. I'm talking about 9 episodes. They haven't even finished one fucking battle. It's like Luffy throws one punch. And then they talk. And they talk some more. And the bad guy shows up. And he talks about what he's doing, which we already talked about the last 3 episodes. And then we keep talking. And then it's like dramatic pause. Next episode. Then the pirate guy will like hit somebody once, and then they'll talk, and they talk.
Yeah, that's
and
too
like,
much.
It's not even one battle. Like I don't expect them to like wrap it up, but it's like, fuck, dude. Like I need some kind of action happening here, and we just keep rehashing the same stuff. So anyway, some people love the show. That's great. I'm not trying to like harsh it, but like, man, in retrospect, what the director of the Netflix adaptation did was fucking a miracle. Like he was working like 100 episodes of content into each 1 hour episode, and that worked. He cut out so much fat. Like he did like Guinness World Records like editing job of like taking out the fat, like most fat removed from an anime ever. That dude takes the fucking crown. So I props to him, and I would absolutely be on board for the next, part 2 of the Netflix thing. But dude, this anime is just like no.
Yeah,
The pacing
excessive.
is glacial, dude. Anyway, along the same lines, you're gonna laugh, but we're trying to look for more 80s shows. We're just on this 80s kick lately, just kind of revisiting stuff for various reasons.
Wrong.
No, you're right. And so we were like, oh man, I remember watching Murder, She Wrote back in the day with Angela Lansbury. You ever see that? You must have.
I mean, I flipped the channel and was like, this isn't for me in the 80s.
I wasn't sure it was for me either, but I remember my grandma watching it back in the day and
Yeah,
having good times
that's a
watching
sign, by the way.
it. It is. It
If
is.
grandma's watching it, maybe it isn't for you. But go ahead.
But I had good times sit with my grandma, right? We'd be like,
Okay.
this let me paint the scene for you. Mom and dad working a lot. Didn't have time to take care of me and my brother. We would get dropped off at grandma and grandpa's house. Love my grandma and grandpa. They're great folks. We had a great time. They lived in this little mobile home trailer in this shitty little mobile home park. But I was a kid, so it didn't bother me. Didn't know anything about it, right? So we're sitting there. Grandma's got her easy chair that rotates. Grandpa's got his lazy boy, which I've talked about on the show before, which was the inspiration for me buying my own current lazy boy, which I have. And we're sitting on grandma's lap. Grandma is drinking iced tea with sugar. She had that like every day. That was her drink. And she would smoke cigarettes like Pall Mall, chain smoke all day long. And I'd be sitting on her lap, breathing in smoke. And she'd be like, "Hey, would you like to light my cigarette?" I'd be like, "Hell yeah." I get that little lighter. I'm like 7, 8 years old, right? Lighting up the lighter. Grandma's taking a puff, puffing it in my face. We're happy. It's all good. Like we didn't know and no one cared. I'd be eating bacon in the morning every day. Didn't care about the nitrates or whatever. Grandma cooked me up some spam and bacon, smoke some cigarettes, drink some tea, watch some shows. But it was all good times. Good times. And she would watch Murder, She Wrote. The vibe. Super vibe, right? Super vibe. 80s innocence vibe. And so she would watch Murder, She Wrote once in a while. I'm like, oh, okay. I remember grandma watching that. Maybe I should watch that again. So we pull it up. My wife is on this 80s track just right alongside with me too, by the way. So Moonlighting, yes, that's been a success. Beauty and the Beast, success. We're watching like a lot of cartoons. Gem, He-Man, that's a success. So we watched Murder, She Wrote, starring Angela Lansbury. And when she started the show, she was like 60, 65. She's like a small town in Maine. She is a high school teacher, but then she writes a book, and the book gets popular. It's like a murder story. And then she becomes a famous author, and then she starts solving crimes in her town. This very well may be the very first instance of cozy mystery ever on TV, right? And that's like that's a whole fucking industry right now. Cozy mystery is like huge. Like, if I don't know if you follow this, probably don't, but like in books and in podcasts and literature right now and shows, cozy mystery is huge. And I have to say that Murder, She Wrote must have been, if not the first, one of the first. And so we kind of wanted to go back to it. I will say the 70s, even though it was from the 80s, the 70s vibe is real strong. A little bit too much maybe. And the first episode, which is something that was happening a lot in the 80s and I forgot about it, but the first episode is always like a 90-minute movie, which is like super like not necessary. It's like a bunch of filler, a bunch of wasting time. But I will say there have been some laughs. She has got a couple zingers in, which I wasn't expecting, which is kind of fun. We're doing this weird murder where like people were at a costume ball and then somebody gets killed. So the first episode, really, really slow. We're going to give it a couple more episodes. I don't know that we're committed to this one yet, but it has been interesting to go back to see what was popular back then. And it's been kind of a trip. So I'll fill you in as we go. But that was something else I watched this week. So just
interesting.
FYI.
Yeah, the cozy murder mystery thing is definitely huge.
Oh, massive, dude. It's massive.
So that is like the OG version. But I will say this. We both inspire each other at times on the show. Even though I'm poo-pooing a lot of it, of you watching Moonlighting all the time, I kind of have a hankering for watching an 80s show. So I think what I'll do is I'll find one tonight.
Yeah.
And I'll report on it next week for us because, it is a time capsule, and especially for men of a certain age.
Oh, yeah. And women, too.
And men and women of a certain age. I'm speaking
and non-binary people.
Well, I'm just speaking of me and you specifically right now.
Gotcha.
I'm saying you and me are men of a certain age.
Sure.
And for us at a certain age, it's kind of like going back in the past, and even you kind of trigger memories.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's the other reason I like doing it. I don't know about you, but like that's why I'm gonna try to find one that you can also see through different eyes because we were different ages.
And some of that stuff just like hits way differently now, and seeing it through a grown-up size as opposed to being 8 years old back then is pretty different. So, I mean, I don't know that we're going to stick with this one, but we've got this one lined up. We were talking about maybe Heart to Heart, which was one that we watched back in the day. Was that one with Pierce Brosnan? Remington Steele, Magnum PI, maybe something like that. So I don't know.
Some are problematic though too. It's so funny to go back. You're like, ooh, there's so much wrong here.
Oh, definitely true, dude. That is for sure. So I think it's interesting to see, some of these shows actually fare pretty well and some of them don't. And it's weird to see where some tripped up. And I think that now that we're older looking back, we can really strongly see the influences rather than just watching a show. We're like, okay, well, I can see what the writer was trying to do. Like the writer had this agenda or he had an axe to grind and he was mad about this certain thing, or he probably just got divorced and that's why he's writing the women so shitty on the show. Or, you can kind of see how things are made in a way that we didn't do back then. So that's kind of interesting as well. But we'll see. And also just the nostalgia. The world is a scary place. We want to go back to something that's comforting. And a lot of these indie shows are comfort food. And I don't know. I'm human just like anybody else. I'm not above it. So we'll see. I don't know if we're going to stick with Jessica Fletcher and Murder, She Wrote, but it was interesting to try that first episode, and we'll see what happens. So
a final tangent is on that tangent, whatever. It Reboot on Hulu. Did you watch that?
Murder, She Wrote?
No, Reboot on Hulu.
Oh, no. No. You told me about it, and we wrote it down. It's on our list, but we haven't gotten to it yet. That's the one where they're rebooting. It's a fake reboot of an old sitcom or something.
It's
right?
what we're talking about. The fact that like there was a show like in the 80s or something, and they're rebooting it, but like it's like revisiting those characters. It's like weird sometimes because things have changed.
It's on our list. I'll have to check it out.
Reboot.
So.
It's very fucking good, and Keegan's in it. So I mean, anything he's in.
Big fan.
Anywho, that's a show.
That's a show, folks. Before we close, we want you to leave reviews, share us on social media, and most important of all, recommend us to your friends. Nothing beats word of mouth. Also, I didn't mention this at the top of the show, but if you do want to support the show and help us out with the cost of running the podcast, you can do that over at patreon.com/the So Video Games Podcast. We'll take any amount, but $5 and up members will get Discord access, where we have a bunch of cool, handsome, sexy people talking about things behind the scenes over at Discord. As always, wow, screwed that up. We do want your questions and comments, like we had today. We had Elio's letter. We talked about J Monster as well. If anybody wants to chip in and let us know what they're thinking, give us your thoughts, your feedback, your ideas, your feelings, anything, hit us up, and we'll more than likely read it here on the show and give you a shout out. You can reach us at sovideogamespodcast@gmail.com. You can also hit us up individually. Boy, my mouth is giving out here. Carlos, where can we send your traffic this week?
Glitch to the ground, baby. Anywhere you can get videos, pretty much. TikTok and YouTube. I'm also on Instagram, but Instagram is just like, me. My friends see it, see all the videos I put up there, but it's like my Carlos channel. It's just like my Carlos Instagram. Yeah. So I always say like TikTok, Glitch to the Ground, or YouTube, Glitch to the Ground.
Okay, great. As for me, I'm on Blue Sky, Twitter, and Instagram. It's my name, BradGallaway, all A's, no O's. And this is going to do it for episode 374. Thank you again for joining us here on the So Video Games Podcast, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week.